too much of the media and people want us to be robots. The reason why you love college sports, the reason why I love college sports is because there's emotion, because there's sports hate. This is what is needed. As long as it doesn't cross a border or cross a line or become egregious, this is the stuff we need. Give me Hurley on a revenge tour in this next year for the UConn Huskies. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hoop Portal. Today, we're going to get into some Big East basketball preview. I think the top part of the conference is set. There's a little middle tier, and then there's almost everybody else. Right when we get into this, go ahead, like, subscribe, enter your name in the portal, get notified when we drop videos. We got a ton of stuff coming up as we gear up towards basketball season. I cannot wait, and I'm really excited for the Big East. Let's get right into it. We're going to start at number 5, work our way up to 1. Again, I think this is a really tight-knit conference with 1 and 2 going to separate themselves. Number 5. Give me Villanova Wildcats. Kevin Williams coming in straight from Maryland, had 3 years there, obviously had some success coming off the Sweet 16 run last year. I think it's interesting to see how this project is going to continue to go for Villanova post Jay Wright being the head coach. He's just stepped down from his TV analyst position. Seems like he's going to be more invested in the program this year than he was under Cal Neptune. Also, shout out Cal Neptune going down with the Hornets. Check out our video, Drive to 30, as if anybody cares about what the Hornets are going to do this year. But it's a fun video. Get into it. And he's had decent success already in the Big East. He had those years at Seton Hall, which had success, tied for first in 2019, I believe, with Seton Hall in the Big East. I think it's a really good fit. I think Kevin Willard is going to have success. Give me them at number 5. Again, it's another thing. They could easily be number 3. I'm going to take them at 5 because at number 4, I've got Marquette. Shaka Smart entering year 5, which is crazy to think because Hubert Davis is entering his 5th year too at Carolina. Wild that they came in at the same time together. Well, different places, but Shaka goes to Marquette. Davis comes in at Carolina. They played each other in the first round of the tournaments, both their first years there. I think it's going to be a really make or break year again for Shaka. I'm a big fan of him. I've always liked him, even the VCU days. I thought some of the Texas stuff didn't turn the right way as it should have. I'm really hoping he's able to turn around at Marquette this year. I like him a lot at number 4. Number 3, give me Creighton. It's Greg McDermott. It's Creighton. Creighton doesn't finish outside the top 3 of the Big East ever. It's just what they do. The last time they finished outside the top 3 was 2016. So Creighton solidified themselves in the top 3. Fun fact, last time they finished first, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the last time they finished first in the Big East was also, they shared the regular season title with Kevin Williard when he was at Seton Hall. So kind of cool to tie those two back again. The interesting thing, though, is as if you are a Creighton fan listening to this, at what point do you want McDermott out? And I don't mean in a sense of he needs to be fired, but obviously they've announced Alan Huss as the coach in waiting. He's coming off a great year at High Point, which is crazy to see a coach go 1 year to a program, basically turn it around, 1 or 2 years at a program, turn around, get him into the tournament, and then go back to where he was to be the coach in waiting. I understand it, especially if you're looking at it from a High Point versus Creighton perspective, and where would you rather be? I think the question is, how long does McDermott stay? And we've seen it with coaches like Roy Williams, Jay Wright, Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett retired in late September, early October, I believe, of last year. And so when these coaches kind of start knocking on the door, or that doubt starts creeping in of like, maybe I don't have the energy to do this anymore. At what point as a fan are you just like, okay, look, we've appreciated you. You've done so much. But if you're already feeling that pressure to leave, maybe it's time to go. We have our guy already. Can we just go ahead and jump this? So Creighton fans, let me know, or anybody else, let me know what you think of that. It's good that they have that action plan in place already. But at what point is enough? And at what point do you just say, okay, it's time to go. We need to make a change. Now, the top 2 teams in the Big East. Everybody's going to agree on this, I believe. Everybody's going to agree on this. St. John's, I have coming in at number 2, but bear with me, okay? St. John's, a lot of turnover from a team that dominated the Big East last year. They won the conference by 3 games and then won the conference tournament and not even playing a game closer than double digits throughout it. I think a big piece of that was UConn missed the mark on a lot. I just think that, coming off of 2 national championship runs, UConn was bound to have something like that. And so I think St. John's benefited from it. No discredit to St. John's, to Pitino. They obviously did a great job, had a great physical, tough roster, but then kind of flamed out against Arkansas in the tournament. And that's where it was kind of like, okay, there was definitely questions. Pitino looked a little frazzled at times even then. And a matchup between Pitino and Calipari is not this amazing X and O's matchup. It's just kind of who wanted it more. And at that night, Arkansas looked just a little bit better. It's going to be a younger group for Pitino, which is really different than what he had last year. And he's got some international players coming in too. And are they going to take time to adjust to college hoops, to college lifestyle, living in New York City? And it's just St. John's is this, Bill Belichick's talking about UNC being the 33rd NFL team. St. John's in a city like New York City with a coach like Pitino playing in the Garden, it feels like a brief extension of the NBA. And it's going to be really interesting to see how some of these players come in, how they adjust, and how they adapt to it. And selfishly, to me, the player to watch of this group is Ian Jackson. Spending a lot of time last year paying attention to North Carolina and watching him play. It was a lot of inconsistency. It was a lot of up and down. Now, is that an Ian issue, or was that an execution, play calling style, inconsistency of playing time issue? Who knows? But Ian has the ability to right the ship this year for himself. And he had some great games last year where he looked like the best player on the team. I think everybody kind of figured once it started waning towards March that he was probably on his way out. And by doing so, most people felt like it was NBA or St. John's. He's ended up at St. John's. I think it's a great move for him. It might take him time to adapt to that play style and difference, but I think he's going to be a really good player. St. John's is a team to me that is going to peak towards March, which is when you want to be doing it anyways. Some of their notable games I put down, because I'm an idiot, and put down at the Garden for some of their home games, but obviously their games are played at the Garden. But they do get Alabama at MSG, which is going to be amazing. They're going to go to Vegas, be in the Players Era tournament. They've got Iowa State and Baylor, two big time games and matchups. They'll get Kentucky on a neutral, and then UConn twice in the Big East. Speaking of UConn, I am loving what Hurley is doing and bringing into this season. They just went on the most, prior to last year, most dominant 2-year run I've seen in college basketball. Their down year, which is what they were last year as an 8 or 9 seed in the tournament, was a 2-point loss to Florida, who ended up winning the national championship. That is what UConn is at the moment. And Solo Ball, Alex Caravan, Terrace Reed, these guys coming back in. You've got 5 out of 8 players returning from your core rotation last year. And it's a down Big East outside of St. John's. I think they're going to win a ton of games. They've got experience. They've got dogs. Alex Caravan is the main focal cultural piece of that to bridge all this together. I think he's bound to have a really good year that wasn't quite up to his expectations last year. I really think he could be Big East Player of the Year. Ian Jackson might be somebody else that makes noise for that. And most times, the best coach on the sideline is going to be on UConn side. I'm a big fan of Hurley and what he's able to do. I think there's big things for UConn this year, and I absolutely have them in my preseason Final Four, and I have them just edging out St. John's in the regular season. Again, I think St. John's will get the conference tournament win, but I think UConn will be the Big East regular season winners. Also, they're able to bring in Silas Damari, which is a transfer out of transfer out of Georgia, and Raleigh, North Carolina kid. Shout out to him. He is that missing point guard piece that they've had in the past with Newton, that they've had in the past with Castle, that they missed last year in Mahaney. Mahaney just didn't have, for lack of anything better to say, enough bricks in his back pocket, I think mentally and physically, to deal with UConn, to deal with the Big East, and to deal with Hurley. He had some injuries. Things just didn't pan out. I think he only started the first 5 games of the year. And I think this kid coming in, Silas, is going to be the perfect fit mentally and physically of what Hurley and UConn is wanting to do. I think that is the reason why that having that point guard now, Solo Ball can be off the ball, Caravan can do what he can do. The question now for UConn is going to be their depth at big, and if that defense is able to continue, not have to rev up like it did last year, being from pretty bad to decent by the time they got to the tournament. If they can just start at good and then get to great, they're going to have to finish in that top 15, top 20 KenPom area defensively. I think offensively is going to be really easy for them, especially with a mind like Hurley, especially with Caravan coming back. Solo Ball knowing the system better now, another year. Terrace Reed, can Silas Damari come in and be that missing point guard piece to let these guys play off the ball? And then defensively, are they able to be as sound as they have been over that 2-year stretch? And that's what I think. Because of that, that is what separates UConn and St. John's from the rest of the pack. 3, 4, and 5 could almost play out any which way. 6 through whatever can also play out any which way. There's a lot of good stories that are going to come out of the Big East, and I'm really excited just to kind of see the headlines and how this shakes up. Notable games for UConn. Biggest one to me, they've got BYU in Boston at TD Garden. That's going to be an amazing game. That's going to be really fun to see. DeBonsta against this matchup of the UConn defense. Can they play defense, and can they play that one-on-one defensive style? They've got Arizona, they got Florida, they got Texas, St. John's twice. It's a rough non-conference, but that is what Hurley wants, as long as it's not 3 games in 3 days like they did in the Maui, which I think he was kind of just having a little fit there, which he is known to do. But yeah, that is what we got from the Big East. Number 5, again, repeat. Number 5, we've got Villanova. I went 4 Marquette, 3 Creighton, 2 St. John's regular season, 1 UConn regular season. Give me St. John's in the tournament, and I will take UConn to just go a little bit further than St. John's does this year in the big dance. I might even take UConn to win the national championship. I really, really like this roster. I think it's going to be a really good year and a good bounce back year. And I can't wait to see Hurley throwing up signs, throwing up numbers, yelling at fans and stuff. I think it's good for college basketball. Too much of the media and people want us to be robots. The reason why you love college sports, the reason why I love college sports is because there's emotion, because there's sports hate. This is what is needed. As long as it doesn't cross a border or cross a line or become egregious, this is the stuff we need. Give me Hurley on a revenge tour and this next year for the UConn Huskies. Thank you guys for watching the video. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, enter your name in the portal, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.